Recording audio. Reaper.
Let's take a run through recording an instrument. Today I'm going to be recording an electric guitar part over a little jam called Cookies in the Studio that my main man P-Dex wrote. He's a chap who's on the Reaper Access WhatsApp channel. We have a little meme in there where we like to talk about what we're snacking on when we're working. And Dex, for reasons best known to himself, likes to write little songs about it. First thing I'm going to do is create a new track, Control-T, Command-T on the Mac.
Track name edit, blank.
I'm going to call it Guitar.
Main.
I'm going to hit the Applications key on this track to set the input. If you were over on the Mac, you'd hit Control-1 for the first context menu.
Context menu.
And I'm going to use my up arrow to get to Input Mono, just because it's quicker to get to it this way. It's a pretty big menu.
Track, auto, input, stereo, input, mono, check, sub, menu, I.
In here,
And one, check, I.
I want input 4, so I'm going to go up one
And 4, I.
to the last input of my interface and hit enter.
07, recording an instrument.
And now I've set the input, I can arm the track, make it ready for recording by hitting F7.
Armed.
And Reaper turns on input monitoring for me automatically, so if I play a chord, we should have some guitar. Now I need to set levels. I'm going to use Asara's Peak Watcher feature, which I can get to by hitting Alt-W. That would be Option-W if you're on the Mac.
Peak Watcher dialog. First track, combo box none collapsed.
And it's asking me which track I want to monitor for my first track. I'm going to go down one to current track.
Follow current track.
And I'm going to hit tab and move through this dialog.
Second track, combo box none collapsed.
I don't need to follow a second track at the moment.
Notify automatically for channels. Grouping. One checkbox checked Alt+1.
I do want to be notified automatically, and I only need it to do one channel because guitar is a mono source. So I'm going to tab again.
2 checkbox checked Alt+2.
And uncheck channel 2. Don't need to hear about that.
Not checked.
Tab again.
When level reaches, dB, edit Alt+L, selected 0.00.
When level reaches, so anything above what I type in here, Peak Watcher will notify me about as I'm playing in real time. I'm going to say anything above -25 I want to hear about, so that would be -25. Tab again.
All peaks, grouping until reset radio button checked Alt+U.
If I was recording somebody else, I'd probably use this option until reset, because I can have both hands on the keyboard to reset stuff whenever I need to. But I'm recording myself, and I want to be notified as I'm playing in real time. I don't want to have to keep stopping to reset stuff, so I'm going to go down arrow here.
4 MS, radio button checked Alt+M.
And I'm going to hold the peaks for a given number of milliseconds each time, and then Peak Watcher will reset itself after that time expires. Tab once more to reach an edit field where I can tell it how many milliseconds I want to hold for.
Edit blank.
And 1000 milliseconds should be enough. That's a second. It's long enough for the speech to tell me about it. Tab again.
Reset button Alt+R.
I don't want to reset.
OK button Alt+O.
But I do want to click OK, so enter on this.
07, recording an instrument.
So now, when I play guitar, Peak Watcher will tell me what my level is at.
Chan 1, -20.3, Chan 1, -18.4, Chan 1, -23.7, Chan 1, minus...
Okay, so I'm coming in sort of either side of -20 dB. I'm going to turn the gain up on my interface just a smidge, because I happen to know that the effects chain I'm going to load in a second sounds best when I'm hitting it round about -15. Alright, let's try that again. This time I'm going to play a slightly more percussive part of the line, trying to get the loudest part of the signal. Probably should have done this to start with, really.
Chan 1, -19.1, Chan 1, -14.2, Chan 1, -13.5, Chan 1.
Okay, so that's hovering more around -15, kind of either side of it, but that'll do. I'm going to go into the effects window quickly and fire up an effects chain that I made earlier. So ordinarily that would be F for the effects window, but in this case I don't want the effects browser, so I'm going to hit B instead.
Effects track 5 guitar dialog.
Which is a little hack that puts me straight into the effects chain list, and from here I can do Shift A to load an effects chain.
Add effects chain, dialog file name.
I should be in the right place if I just browse.
Guitar rotary verbi clean.
Guitar rotary verbi clean, that's the one I want.
Effects track 5 guitar dialog 0.7% CPU 60.
Turn off Peak Watcher.
Peak Watcher dialog. First track, combo box follow current track collapsed.
I'm just going to up arrow again to go to none in this first combo box.
None.
And hit enter.
07, recording an instrument.
So now I should have my effects chain loaded, and I won't be told about levels anymore because I'm already happy with those. Let's have a listen to see what this sounds like. Yeah, I think that's going to do the job. Last thing to do is to set up a count in, because this part starts right on bar 1 beat 1. I'm going to do Alt-Shift-M for the metronome and pre-roll settings dialog. That would be Option-Shift-M on the Mac.
Metronome and pre-roll settings dialog. Primary beat volume -12.
blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to tab in here until I find count in for recording.
Run metronome count in before recording. Checkbox not checked.
Check this.
Checked.
And in the next edit field,
Count and measures. Edit. Selected 2.
I don't need 2, I only need 1. I'm going to replace this with a 1 and hit enter.
07 recording an instrument. Audio.
So now I can toggle my metronome on with Control-Shift-M. That would be Command-Shift-M over on the Mac.
Metronome on.
And go to the beginning of the project with Control-Home. Oh, it didn't speak, so it didn't move. I must have already been there. And I'm ready to hit R to record. Let's see what we get.
Cookies in the studio. Yeah, cookies in the studio. Mini bumpers on the side. Cookies in the studio. Yeah, cookies in the studio. Mini bumpers on the side.
Okay, some of it was a bit ropey, but it's all workable, I think. There you go. One electric guitar part recorded.
Samplitude.
So let's do some recording and then do a punch-in recording with some saxophone. We'll try our best with the current setup, but I'm going to have to change some levels to make it all work, so bear with me. So I've imported a file called Blue Moon, just a backing track.
Track 1 Blue Moon backing.
And then I've created a track called Sax,
2 sax.
and the tempo is 110. So we can check that in the transport console with Control-Shift and T.
Transport console open. Transport tempo 110.0.
Okay, so we could just press enter and change that. There are other controls in here for recording and click and all that type of thing, but we don't need them at the moment, so we'll shut that with Control-Shift and T.
Transport console closed. Arranger 2 sax.
We'll check the input, and you check the inputs in Samplitude by going to the record control.
Solo off. Mute off. Record ready off.
Press Control Applications.
Control options. Context menu. R. Record alt R. R1. Analog 1 Soundcraft USB audio SEO in checked. 1.
Okay, and then it lists all of your inputs. It's got the one that we want. Check, so we'll just escape out of
Leaving
that.
menus. Arranger. Record ready off.
So we'll turn record on,
Record ready on.
and then we'll go into the visualization window with Control Alt Shift and V,
Visualization window open. Visualization window.
and this is where we can check the levels. So this is where I'm going to turn down the gain for the microphone, because I'm going to have to use it with a saxophone. And then what I'm going to do is, when the levels are right, I'll go back into the arranger and start recording. Okay, so I'm just going to change the levels now, so bear with me. Okay, so let's check the levels. So I press F7 to check the max meters.
Max minus 15.5. Minus 87.5. Max minus 3.6. Minus 87.1.
Okay, so that'll do for me. So we'll shut that window,
Visualization window closed. Arranger. Record ready on.
and then we'll go for it.
Start of project. Bar 1 beat 1.
Okay, so we've stopped recording there. So I'll turn record off.
Record ready off.
Let's have a listen. Okay, so that's our recording. So what we want to do is get rid of that mistake, obvious mistake. And to do that, we need to go to punch marker mode. So we'll go back into the transport with Control-Shift-T,
Transport console open. Transport. Temp.
and then we'll just tab along.
Time signature. Record mode. MIDI recording. Input monitor. Beat grid on. Punch marker mode off.
So we'll turn punch marker mode on,
Punch marker mode on.
shut transport,
Transport console closed. Arranger. Record.
and then going to set our punching markers.
Bar 4.
Okay, so we'll set our first one there with shift and left bracket.
Punch marker in. Set from. Bar 6 beat 1 tick 9.
Okay, go to the next one. And we'll set our out one there with shift and right bracket.
Punch marker out. Set 2. Bar 7 beat 4 tick 190. Start of project. Bar 1 beat 1.
Okay, and then we're going to arm the track again. I'm going to change the levels back and we'll put in that punch.
Record ready on.
Okay, so the levels are back up. We'll unarm
Record ready off.
and let's have a listen. Okay, so that's how we would record and do a punching in Samplitude. Of course you can fine tune that if you wanted to, but that's the basic idea.
Logic.
So we're going to record something. So first we are going to set the tempo. Now, if you didn't set the tempo when you created the project, you can do that in the control bar. So I'm going to stop interacting with the tracks group, which is where we are right now.
Out of track.
All right. And I'm going to use VO left arrow to navigate to the control bar.
Inspector, library, group control bar, toolbar.
Interact with
In
this.
control bar, toolbar.
And now I'm looking for the control bar group. So I'm just going to use VO right arrow till I get to it.
Inspector, quick toolbar, smart mixer, editors, rewind, forward, go to play, record, cycle, control bar, group.
There we go. Control bar group. Interact with
In
this.
control bar, group. 9 items.
And I'm going to look for the tempo.
120.0000. Tempo,
All right.
slider.
So interact with this tempo slider. And you can use VO left or right arrow to move in increments of 10.
In slider.
So VO left arrow.
110, 100.00, 90.0000.
And now VO shift left and right arrow moves you in increments of 1. So VO shift left arrow.
89.88, 87.86.85.0000.
All right. And we have that set to 85. All right. So I'm going to stop interacting with the tempo
Out of
here.
slider.
Now let me get out of here and go back to the tracks area.
Out of tracks, group, in track, tracks header, in tracks, track 6 Her Majesty _4 inches.
All right. So now the next thing I may want to do is set the input for the track. So we want to record on the guitar tracks and navigate to that track.
Track 5 Her Majesty, track 4, track 3 vocal, group, track 2 guitar, group.
And it's a little bit easier to set the inputs and outputs in the mixer. So I'm going to open the mixer in its own window with Command 2.
Now in, dot comparison, mixer, tracks, window, guitar, partially hidden, channel strip group.
All right. And now if I interact with the guitar channel
guitar,
strip,
partially hidden, channel strip group.
I'm going to press VO home to jump to the top of the channel
Guitar,
strip here.
name, sensitivity, button.
And everything at from sensitivity to where it says settings are only going to be visible if you have audio device control turned on. I have audio device control turned on because I do have an audio interface that supports it. So if I navigate with VO right arrow,
Off, phantom power, off, high pass fill, off, phase invert, switch, 1, input gain, slider, 39, input hardware monitoring, button, setting, button.
all right. So if you didn't have audio device control set to be visible, then when you press VO home, you're going to land on the settings button. And now I'm going to continue over to where the input is. So if I continue using VO right arrow,
Off, gain reduction, off, EQ, mono, channel mode, switch, input 1, button.
all right, and you see this is set to input 1. Now I need to change this to input 2 because that is the input that my guitar is plugged into on my interface. So I'm going to VO space on this.
Menu, check mark, input 1, no input, hyphen, input, submenu.
All right, so that's the submenu where you can find
Input,
your
submenu
inputs.
20 items, check mark, input 2.
I'm going to select input 2.
Press input 2, guitar, partially hidden, channel strip group.
And unfortunately, with the current version of Logic, it takes you out of the channel strip once you change the inputs. I'm going to have to reinteract with the guitar channel strip.
In guitar, partially hidden. Channel strip group.
And now, once again, I'm at the end of the channel strip. So if I do VO left arrow, it's going to take me past like my solo button, mute buttons, and all that stuff.
Off. Solo. Switch. Off. Mute. Switch. Off. Monitoring. Switch. Mixed. Record. Switch. 0.0 decibels. Volume fader. Slider.
And there you see the volume fader.
Off. Peak. Button.
And there you see the peak fader. Now, I like to turn on input monitoring so I can monitor what I'm recording through the DAW. So I'm going to press Control I to turn that on. And now if we look at the peak meter,
0 off. -8.1. Peak.
you
Button.
see that peaks at -8.1. So that's a decent level. And so we got everything set up here. I'm going to do Command W to close the mixer.
Now in. Dot comparison. Tracks. Window. Track 2 guitar. Group.
And you see I'm back on the guitar track. Now in Logic, you can set your count in, and you can do that by going to the record menu. So if I hit VO M,
Menu bar. Apple.
and then the letter R,
Record.
VO down arrow,
Record. Menu 10 items. Count in. Submenu.
and you see our count in submenu.
Count in. Submenu 16 items. None. Check mark. 1 bar. 2 bars.
And I'm going to switch this over to 2 bars.
Press check mark. 2 bars. Check. Logic. Track 3 vocal. Group. Track 2.
All right. And so now we got a 2-bar count in. So next, I'm going to start recording. So now Logic will automatically record to the selected track. So you don't have to arm the track first or record in Ableton track as it's known in Logic. You can just press R and start recording, and Logic will record automatically to the selected track. So I'm going to press R. It's going to count me in for 2 bars, and then I can start playing. Space to stop,
1
and
bar.
then
1
space
bar. 1
again
beat.
to
1
play.
tick. 1 bar. 1 beat.
So
1
you see I
tick.
messed up a little bit there at measure 2, so I'm going to move the playhead there with period.
2 bars. 1 beat. 1 tick.
Set a punch-in locator with Control Option Command I. Move to measure 3 with period again.
3 bars. 1 beat. 1 tick.
Set a punch-out locator with Control Option Command O. And now I'm going to hit
1
return
bar. 1 beat. 1.
and let this count me in. I'm going to press R. It's going to count me in, and we just play to replace that messed up part. Alright,
1 bar.
now let's play this back.
1 bar. 1 beat. 1 tick. One bar. 1 beat. 1 tick.
All right, in Logic, when you record without first undoing or deleting what was previously there, it will create a take folder or a playlist as it's known in Pro Tools. So I'm going to press Option Shift U to flatten that and just keep the most current thing that I recorded, because you can't crossfade when you have a take folder. Next, I'm going to move off the track
Track 1 classic electric piano. Track 2 guitar. Group.
and back onto it. So now that I have all the regions on the track selected, I'm going to press Control Option X to apply the default crossfade. And I moved on and off the track with VO up and down arrows. All right, let's play this back.
1 bar. 1 beat. 1 tick.
And
1
there
bar.
you
1
have
beat.
it.
1 tick.
Pro Tools.
I've switched over to bars and beats in Pro Tools and created a click track right from the tracks menu. Flow Tools, Command F11 will tell us what the tempo is, 120 of course.
120.0000 tempo.
Okay, and I'm going to set that by double tapping that.
Type a tempo value.
And let's do 84. And now I'm going to record a guitar part. So let me Control P, make sure I'm on the guitar.
3 keys. 2 vote, 1 guitar.
Yeah, guitar track. I've muted Her Majesty already. Now let's do Shift R. Okay, and input assignment. If I were to interact
Tracks. Track 1 guitar. Audio track.
with the track,
In 1 sends I/O a 2. Audio input path selector a 2. Pop-up button.
vote space on this.
Menu interface submenu.
And
Interface BA mono.
We'll go
B8,
to
audio input.
that input. Okay, and down toward the bottom is the level meter.
Comments. Text. Guitar. Track name 1. Guitar. Pop. Din. Voice selector. Din. Pop. 0.0. 0.0 dB. Volume. Vertical. Minus 69 dB. Level meter.
Okay, so there we have our level meter. If we were to move below that,
Minus 4.5. Peak. Vertical. Minus 4.5. Peak.
there's
vertical
our
meter.
peak indicator. Okay, and normally with Flow Tools, I would just not interact with this
Out of 1 guitar. Audio.
and just simply use the inspector.
Inspector on.
The input would be I.
B8.
Okay, if I double tap it,
Menu. Interface. Submenu.
it brings up that same menu.
1 guitar.
And if
audio.
I press P, that'll give me the peak.
Minus 4.5.
Okay, let me clear that by double tapping.
Peak.
Okay, so now that's cleared. L will give me the level indicator,
Minus 68 dB.
the current level indicator. So let's see. If I double tap that, actually, it'll just continuously speak the level.
Minus 59 dB.
Okay, so let's take the guitar here.
Minus 55 dB. Minus 10 dB.
Okay, yeah. I mean, we're set with levels, I think. If I stop, it'll go down.
Minus 70 dB. Minus 69 dB.
Yeah, so it goes down.
Minus 54 dB.
And let me just do one.
Minus 4 dB.
Yeah, so that's just the louder thing. So we're at -4. That's good.
Minus 67 dB.
I'm going to turn off the level.
Deactivate level monitor.
And let's make sure we're at the top. Return. And I'm going to press Command Space Bar to start recording. Okay, so let me stop there. I'm going to press down arrow right before the mistake happened and up arrow right after it. So let me do that. Make a selection that way. Okay, so I have that selection now, and I'm going to press Command Spacebar to record. Let's hear that back. Okay, so now we're fine with that. Now, normally I would crossfade punch-ins like that, and I could do that quickly by just return, Option-Shift-Return, Command-F.
Create. Batch fades. Window. Presets.
And just by default, it's a 10 millisecond crossfade, so it just does it in a batch. Hit return, and tab. Let's hear this. There you go.